Welcome to the Kat Nelson Show. I'm the one and only Kat Nelson, MMA fighter out of Orlando, Florida. You can join me on my journey to becoming the baddest bantamweight fighter in the world by following me on social at KatNoy11. This episode is brought to you by Black Lab Organics, all natural and organic dog treats. Our goal at Black Lab Organics is to create CBD-infused dog treats with real ingredients, because we believe that dogs deserve better. Follow us on social at Black Lab Organics or visit our website, blacklaborganics.com. Use discount code CAT10 to get 10% off your next order. Crazy about fights? The Fight Bananas podcast is all fight news and everything fight related. Follow them on social at Fight Bananas Official. You can also tune in on YouTube, all podcast platforms, and iHeartRadio. I train about 5 to 6 days a week, and as a fighter, I understand the importance of recovery. Fusion CBD products always has my back. I use their CBD oil every morning in my coffee and their CBD balms after trainings and before bed. And just like that, I feel brand new, ready to take on the next day. Follow them on social at Fusion CBD Products or visit their site fusioncbdproducts.com. New Dimensions Wellness Studio is a premium health, wellness, and performance center that combines cutting-edge technology with ancient wisdom. Every visit I make to New Dimensions, I leave feeling like a brand new woman. Whether you're an athlete that wants to excel in performance, undergoing rehab from an injury, or just want to take care of yourself, they will guide you to all your needs. Follow them on social at nd_wellness or visit their site mynewdimension.com. Just Blaze Clothing is South Florida's #1 source of clothing for the cannabis community. They sell all types of apparel, accessories, and rolling trays, perfect for any stoner dude or stoner babe. Check them out on social at Just Blaze Clothing or on their website justblazeclothing.com. Use discount code CAT10 to get 10% off your next order. The law offices of Daniel Martinez has got your back. Daniel Martinez is a criminal defense attorney who fights in court and in the cage. Shut up and lawyer up with the law offices of Daniel Martinez. Follow them on social at martinez.law.321 or their website martinez.law. Never stop, never quit. Support local fighters with Team Reaper. Team Reaper creates personal fight apparel just so fighters can make profit. I have my own fight apparel you can purchase on the website reaper1.co. You can also follow them on social at Team Reaper1. By purchasing my shirt, you will not only be supporting me, you will also be supporting this podcast, other fighters, and Rue Camp Champs, a youth crime prevention organization in my hometown, Orlando, Florida. Rue Camp Champs' mission is to get youth off of the streets and teach them martial arts. You can also donate to Rue Camp Champs at kidsmma.org.
And the hemoglobin.
Oh, big shot, spinning back fist by right hand. And
That's
is all.
his all. Wow.
Road. That's a wrap, son. Cat.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Kat Nelson Show. Today, I am joined by Meaghan Penning. How are you doing today, Meaghan?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Kat?
I'm doing well. So for you guys that don't know, Meaghan is now an Invicta Strawweight, and she's also a woman of many talents. And Meaghan, I know before COVID, your goal was to become a pro fighter in the next year, and it happened. November came along, and you had your pro debut, you had your Invicta debut, and you won unanimous decision. How did that W feel coming out of lockdown and being a pro now? How did that feel?
Oh my God, it was so amazing because the last time I'd fought before that was maybe a year before, and funnily enough, my opponent's teammate is Meaghan Anderson, and she was interviewing me.
Nice.
Asked me in my interview before the fight, as the commentators will do interviews with the fighters to talk about during as the fight's going on, to say, oh, so and so's looking for this, or she told us earlier today that she's doing this. So that's how they get that information, is they'll interview us pre-show. And when she interviewed me the day before the show, she asked, do you feel that having ring rust, not being very active in the last year, will affect 1 sec, let me just turn my screen brightness up a little bit. Oh, up all the way.
Fine.
So she asked if it would affect my my performance, basically having not been in the cage for a year. And
Yeah.
I was honest when I said, I'm still very new at this. And so I don't think that ring rust is a thing yet. I've only
Yeah.
years, and yes, that was my longest hiatus off, but to me sparring is still very close to cage. It's not the same. Like, I definitely think there's a big gap between what you practice in your technique
Mm-hmm.
to what you do in sparring to what you do
Mm-hmm.
in cage. There's a huge gap in between each of those phases. So
Right.
of course there's, ring rust is something, but to me it's like I'm still like at such a beginning stage that I was like, I don't think it'll really affect. But when I got in there were spots where like I felt like I would have been more comfortable that I wasn't, especially with grappling COVID times. My gym in New Mexico, we've been following the protocol. And so we've been doing striking classes, and we'll have one-on-one lessons and work, but we're not
Mm.
doing grappling classes as much as we were before. Well, we're not doing actual group classes like that at all, because
Yeah.
grappling close contact. So having that time off of that, I did feel not as comfortable as I'm used to. So yeah, to actually get the win when it's like I haven't been in for a minute was like just awesome. And I
Yeah.
get the win, but then you get in there and you're like, oh wow, I forgot this is like actually hard to like fight somebody.
Yeah, and that's crazy because most of your fight was grappling, and I felt like your cardio was on point. Like, I was like, wow, she just doesn't stop. Like, you're constantly attacking and being in control. And one thing that I really liked that not a lot of coaches like to implement into a fighter's game, and you don't see a lot of fighters do it, is working off of your back. Like, you were throwing elbows and they were pretty vicious. Did you practice that?
So I have practiced a lot of elbow strikes on a dummy. So I have
Okay.
Coach Tom and we work like twice a week with it. Or we, especially leading into that camp, we were at least working twice a week.
Mhm.
And so I practice moving the dummy and throwing strikes as I'm moving it, but that's
Mhm.
the time I've ever thrown elbows against
Off
some,
your back, yeah.
like in training, like when you wear elbow pads, if you're wearing like a rash guard, it's always slipping off. So like I just stopped bothering with elbow pads.
Yeah.
So I don't really throw elbows. I'll sometimes kind of shadow it if I'm,
Yeah.
but is like throwing at speed. So and I've always been very comfortable off my back. But that wasn't the game plan for that fight.
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
sometimes it just happens.
I was to get on top. That was our plan. And
Right.
it really didn't happen until the third round where I was really stuck there for a minute. But
Right.
was there, I felt very confident there, and I felt confident I was winning the fight there, which you don't
Mhm.
see a lot. Every now and then you'll see someone like just last month I think it was Kevin Holland who knocked that guy out with a hook off his back as he went to sit up, and
Yeah.
he threw that big hook and ended up knocking him out. So Jacare Souza.
Mhm.
So it's not something that's very common, and it is really cool to see. So I mean, I was excited that like I got to showcase that part of my game, but it's not going to be my go-to plan because I think she wasn't expecting the elbows. And anytime you're not expecting something, even if you're very high level, it can be difficult to respond. I'm sure she was expecting a lot of submission attempts.
Right.
It was very defensive off of for the submission, so I didn't really go for many of those because I did feel like she was prepared for that, and she really wasn't prepared for the elbows. So I felt very confident there that I was winning the fight and that it was going in my favor in that round. So I ended up staying there rather than risk scrambling. And then because on the feet we felt pretty even in the
Mhm.
exchanges, in the transitions we felt pretty even, and I know she's got excellent transitions in grappling, and I just felt like she was not comfortable in my guard.
Mhm.
Like, all right, I guess we stay here then.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Well, that's awesome, and congratulations again. Before the fight camp, how did you stay sharp when we were in lockdown? Were you able to train at all?
so when lockdown first started, I was doing a lot of stuff on my own. So I was shadowing a lot. I was in the parks. I had like a whole park workout circuit with weights, and I got in really good shape because the first month of quarantine, I like gained a bunch of weight, and I was like, you know what, I'll take
Mhm.
work on my wine certification because I'm a sommelier. I'm a level
Cool.
1. So I'm working towards my level 2. So I'm like, all right, I'll take some time to just work on this since, I can't be training as much and all the gyms were shut down in New Mexico, like everything was
Yeah.
doing that. And I gained like 6 pounds and like, as a fighter, like you don't want to walk heavier than your walk around weight,
Right.
But after that first month, I spent like a good month on my own, just like getting in great shape. And I really increased like my strength, like all of my vulnerabilities. My hips have always been really weak. My ankles were kind of weak. And so I was working on doing a lot of park workouts to get those things solid, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And doing that. So I messed up my ankle. And so then I had to be in a boot for a little bit. So that took up some. And then by the time that I was all healed up, my gym reopened. And so by the time my gym reopened, I was like in the best shape I'd ever been in going into, not even like going into a camp. Like I had no idea that I was going to get in November. So we reopened maybe July, August, somewhere in that time frame. And it was the best shape of my life I've ever been in. I was walking maybe 3 pounds lighter. My cardio felt amazing. I was running. I was, working out a lot on my own.
Right. Nice. So I want to mention something that I thought was interesting. You were able to fight in China before the whole coronavirus happened. What type of bout was it? Was it MMA?
Yes, so it was an MMA fight against a girl who was a boxing coach for her gym.
Okay.
Chi Young. I can spell it, but I can't say it. And it was really like amazing to be there. And no one knew about Corona at all then. Like it was completely of when I went there. And I had to get a special visa. I went over with my coach, Arlene. We were there for a week. We got to kind of do some sightseeing in the area we were. We were only like an hour and a half from the Great Wall, but we didn't have time to do that. We were about an hour outside of Beijing. And Chaos Williams, who has had 2 like 30-second knockouts in the UFC, just had his debut, I think January of last year. Just lost last fight to Perea, but has had 3 fights in the UFC this year now. He was over there also. And so that's how I met Chaos and kind of became friends with him. And he had a crazy knockout. The girl I fought, she was a boxing specialist. And within like the first 30 seconds of each round, I got her to the ground and controlled. And that was unanimous decision 30-27. But she was a lot smaller than me. So their weight classes aren't the same strictness, I guess you could say. So I made like, I think I had to be 116 something because of the kilograms, because it was like 52 kg. So that's like 116.9 or something like that with the 1 kg allowance. So I made my weight, and then she weighed in maybe 110. So we're within, so many pounds of each other, and the bout was allowed to happen, but she walks very light. They just didn't have other people because it was King of the Cage that brought me over, and they're good friends with the promotion with. So they just kind of matched up some of the fighters they had available.
We are frozen. Sorry about that, guys. I'm asking her if she can come back on.
Oh, sorry, my phone overheated.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was on my end.
Dad, I'm so sorry. One sec. Let me
fine.
just move inside. Let me get a mask so I can at least walk in the door. I can't believe that happened. I'm actually in Phoenix right now.
Okay,
And I'm not
gotcha.
used to the heat because Albuquerque is actually very cold.
Mm,
So, oh, did I leave my door open? No, but we're good. I can see my car from here.
okay. Let me
Okay,
know when you're
so we can
situated.
finish here. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. But the reason why I brought up China was because the evolution of women's MMA has like exploded in the past few years. And Zhang Weili just became the UFC strawweight champ in March. And I was just wondering like how the competition was over there. Were there a lot of girls fighting? And how has women's MMA evolved since you started?
So, Weili Zhang had actually just become the champ against Andrade. I think it was August or July before I'd gone over in October. So it was just like
Okay,
2 months
you're right.
before. So I was super psyched because I'm a huge fan of Weili. I loved just seeing, as an Asian woman, it was really cool to see. I'm not, from Asia, I'm American Asian, but, it's
Right.
like my culture a little bit. And so, like,
Yeah.
I was really excited when she became the champ because she was the first Chinese champion in the UFC. Can you hear me great? I'm sorry, I'm in a car.
I can hear you. I
Okay,
can hear
cool. So it was really exciting. That was what I was most psyched about. Is I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's really cool about it though was less about as you were talking about the fighters. I was seeing it from a fan perspective. The audience was huge. Like it was so neat going over there after they just had someone become the champ because the fans were so jazzed to see women's MMA. So
Nice.
like when I walked out, I was wearing like this all pink outfit and I had these pink braids and like it's very like Asian culture loves the production of it. They love
Right.
the marketing aspect. They love like this superhero. If you've ever heard like interviews with the One Championship president, he talks a lot about how he likes his fighters to be like superheroes, and that's a very like Asian thing. The Asian cartoon, the manga, all of that. So when I walked out, I heard people shouting "Glamour Girl."
Oh, Glamour
Like,
Girl.
that's my fighter name. I love that.
I like that too.
So
Yeah, I'm really excited and stoked to see like where we are even in like the next year. So, um changing the subject, what is your experience with marketing?
So I have a business management bachelor's with a marketing advertising minor from a private university in Michigan called Northwood University. And so a 4-year degree focusing on mainly marketing. Initially my degree was supposed to be in marketing. I ended up switching it to a minor because of how my credits worked out. But it's like school, like my return on investment for that degree is like pretty much zilch right now. Like I worked at a paint store for about a year out of college, hated the traditional assistant manager type role.
Right.
It wasn't for me. But the perspective it gave me coming into a career that's very entertainment oriented, the industry of MMA is very entertainment based. It's starting to be seen more as a sport, but it definitely was considered TV entertainment when it first came out. So I think that like branding and having your fighter personality and your fighter style and like what people know you for and like to watch you for, I think is like really important in our industry. And you see, even in jiu-jitsu, you see women in jiu-jitsu really creating that brand and that like, their own idea of who they are and how their photos capture who they are, how their page and what they say captures their philosophies. And to me, that's like branding and marketing, figuring out who it is that you are and making it exciting and big and easy for people to grab onto and remember.
Right, yeah. I'm still an amateur and I really have to put myself out there and expose myself. And the number one thing that I've used is Instagram. And I know like your Instagram, which is everyone follow Meaghan Penning down below. I love your bio. It has your Venmo and your PayPal. I love that you post cute, sexy, beautiful stories, posts constantly. And if you scroll down your page, it looks like a website. So it's very cool.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's helped. It's definitely helped your career so far as a fighter. And I just think that people need to realize, especially men, that being feminine and strong is okay. Being sexy and an MMA fighter is okay. Like,
Yes. So,
yeah,
and I've gotten some hate like on Instagram before where people will be like, "Oh, well, why didn't you?" And sometimes it's not even hate; it's just like, sexually suggestive or whatever it
yeah,
may be. But I've had people say like, "Oh, showing your ass for likes or this and this," and it's like, okay, here's to me what the difference is.
hmm
I live my life in a very sexy, sexual way.
right,
Um, I'm polyamorous, so I have multiple boyfriends, or I'm open to having multiple boyfriends or connections. I just like I once described it as like
no, I
I don't have a
understand.
problem with insta hoes if you're a
Yeah,
insta hoe in real life. Like be you, be
right,
who you are. Don't change your personality though for the internet because you
right,
think this is what people like. If that's not you, then like then come up with a different brand that fits you. But the way
right,
that I basically did my page is, I looked at what are the things that I think are um, key or who I am as a person
hmm
and what is who I am as a fighter. And so when I
right,
branded my page, I first determined like what is it that I'm trying to promote. Number one, fighter. Like I am a fighter first, but I'm a sexy fighter. So
right,
like I
yeah,
do. I try to keep my page equally fighting and sexy, and not always fighting sexy pictures.
hmm
So it's not always like topless with gloves or something. It's not like everything sexy fighter. I have some sexy, some fighter,
right,
but a lot of even my sexy photos I keep very muscle based because I do want people to know I'm a fighter. Like I
yeah,
don't want that to ever be forgotten. So when you're branding, but then second is it's very sexy and that's just who I am. That's kind of my personality. That's like how I like to take photos. So then I have that as like my secondary kind of theme. And
right,
then so you think about like the two, I guess, jobs you have or your themes. So fighter first, Instagram model second, sexy Instagram model second. But
right,
then you also, I read this guide on how to create a great, like just on Instagram. It's like a guide to Instagram. And they say that you should really make sure you know your psychographics too. So psychographics are like what you believe and what your audience believes. And so you want to
mhm,
find an audience that believes things similar to you. So for me, I'm very much about like women empowerment. And I'm very much
right,
about like women being able to express themselves and especially be sexy without it being like, oh well, she's too much or judgy or anything like that. Like it should
hmm
be you can be who you want to be, and just because you're a fighter doesn't mean you can't be sexy. Just because you're an engineer doesn't mean you can't be sexy. You should always feel free to be who you are, even if society thinks those things contradict each other. Like they shouldn't be thought of as contradictory. Women can be good at more than one thing. We can be
right,
good at like
right,
10 things.
yeah, and
So but
that's go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but that's what you with branding. You don't want to have too many things on the page, which is
hmm
my problem because I do wine, I do food, I do so many
Gotcha.
things. So like, I try to focus at least the majority of my content on the things that I've set from the beginning. These are what I do best.
Right, right. No, yeah, that's what really drew me to you to bring you on here because I am all about women empowerment and women-owned businesses and all that stuff. And I think you're doing amazing. Keep doing it. The more you become popular, the more haters are gonna come as well. So that's just normal.
For sure,
Um,
100%.
yeah. I want to go ahead and talk about mindfulness because I think taking care of the body is extremely important, but I think just as important is taking care of the mind. So I know that you've kind of worked on that. I think it was during the coronavirus, like
Yes.
lockdown. Yeah. So what practices did you pick up and have you been practicing and how has it helped you?
So number one, I do yoga and meditation. Right now I have the Headspace app. And I
Okay.
really like the Headspace one. I've used Calm before too. I did 2 years of Calm because usually you get a deal if you do the yearly subscription. It ends up being $60 to $80 a year,
Okay.
depending on which one you go with. So for me, those are really helpful for starting your meditation and just to get regular with it because it's just really easy to just open the app and then you also have like music in there and everything else. And then, of course, when I go to yoga, I generally am a regular yogi. During COVID, we had online Zoom classes. So I would go to those still. And I'd also meditate on my own with the app or even by myself. During the COVID, I was also working regularly with a meditation coach, which was really helpful. I think it ended up being like $30 or $40 a session. He's phenomenal. He gave me awesome value for the time. I'll send you his page if you want to post it at the end.
Sure, yeah.
On Enlighten Wellness Center, and it's in Albuquerque. And so I worked regularly with him, and then I also have a friend who got into, what is it called? The name is escaping me. It's similar to quantum physics meditation, in that realm of things. And she was all about doing transgressions or regressions into past lives. And so like I did a little bit of that with her, which was really fun. They basically put you in a hypnotic state, and then they take you on this journey to like whatever you see. So they say, well, we're in a place. What is the place that you see? You know, and they go through, once you're like in this state of hypnosis, and you kind of are, the goal is to find your life's purpose. And to find anything that can help you. Like if you already know your life's purpose, just finding things that can help you. Sometimes you'll even talk to people who have died in your life. So it's very like up there with like the hippy dippy of the hippy dippy. I love hippy dippy stuff.
The spiritual realm.
Very
like
spiritual. That's a better word.
Yeah.
So and that was really neat too. So I'm always open to any kind of mental practice that's positive and could be impactful. I always try it if I hear about it. And I think that anyone can kind of take on that approach. Like I feel like we do get exposed to all these meditation and mindfulness options in our lives, but we don't always take advantage of them. It just kind of passes us by. So if we just start being aware of like, oh, I want to start working on my mindfulness, just trying to notice in your everyday life what opportunities present you to do that is a great first step. And you're also being mindful of looking for opportunities, because all mindfulness is constant awareness of your surroundings, of yourself, of your emotions, of other people's emotions. It's just awareness that you're practicing in your daily life and trying to be more aware of. So that's the way I kind of see it.
Right, yeah, and just like anything else, it takes time and practice. And I'm sure for you and also for me, like it's helped me in my personal life and it's helped me in my fight career as well. Another thing I wanted to mention, and it's a big part of my show, is cannabis. I know you don't use it for THC components, but you do use CBD. So how has that helped you, and what kind of CBD products do you use?
So the way I see it is, okay, so I study wine, right? And I love wine. And wine has a lot of benefits. Like if you have just one glass of red wine a day, you have polyphenols in there. But in a cup of tea compared to a glass of wine, you might have, more polyphenols in the tea.
Right.
And there's no alcohol in the tea, right? And the alcohol is the bad part. So, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think THC, if you have too much of that, then there's potential brain cell damage, or they haven't studied the effects of THC as extensively as CBD, and they don't know yet, like the verdict's still out on the THC.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they know. I know that like if your brain isn't fully developed, then like if you're smoking at a young age, then it's different. But I'm not completely sure about that.
So, but I know that CBD, there's no, I shouldn't say no guesswork, but they've done a lot of studies on CBD, and they'll even give CBD to child patients with epilepsy. Yeah. And they've found it's been very helpful. So I think CBD, we can really safely say 100% is good for you. So I'm very much an advocate of using CBD products for healing. The oils. I have the warming gels from Habit Crafted. I have my little vape pen from Habit Crafted that my friend Juliana Miller at Killer Miller MMA promotes. And I love it so far. It's really nice. I can't smoke it in here because now I'm in the coffee shop. But it's just CBD. But I'm not against THC, but I think that it should be treated similar like alcohol and things like that, where, in moderation, you're fine.
Right.
If you overdo it, sometimes you risk, damage. Probably shouldn't drive with it. but again, like, I don't think that it shouldn't be illegal or,
Right,
thought of as
right.
something that people shouldn't be able to do recreationally.
Right.
So that's kind of my take on that. And I smoke sometimes. It's just not my regular. I'm not like a
Yeah.
habitual smoker, I guess you'd say.
Cool.
Because I
Awesome.
drink. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
better stick to one.
You
But
kind of have to drink for your hobby.
yeah.
So what's in the future for you? Are you shooting for anything outside of Invicta? Or are you trying to stay within their promotion?
So I have a contract with them, and it's a 4-fight contract. So I still have 3 more with them, and um, it, and then like they have like a champion clause, of course. Like if I were to somehow become the champion, which we've got a ways for that.
Right.
Unless I had to take some
But
time
that's
off
the
or something
goal.
like that. But that's the goal.
Yeah.
Is ideally I'd love to be the champion in Invicta so next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be. Or if I get to the UFC sooner than that, then that would be great too. But I definitely have at least another 3 with them, and I'm really excited about that because I love Invicta's promotion.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. So before we let you go, do you want to shout anybody out?
Yeah, so I guess just huge thank you to my coaches in Albuquerque. They've been with me for 2 to 3-ish years now, and at Fit in HB. So that's that. I'm also starting to train more in Phoenix, which is where I am right now. Huge shout out to MMA Lab. I like training there, and it's going really well. So that's kind of, and then my parents, they're always supporting me, and my roommate Kendra, and like I have lots of great friends and a great support system. But I don't have any. I guess normally this is where I plug my sponsors, and I am looking for sponsors. So if you are watching this,
Cool.
looking to sponsor me, please let me know, because I'm looking for more long-term sponsors. With my Instagram, it's been going great. I really appreciate everyone who's been supporting the page. Thank you guys so much. It's enough to where it's like a part-time job at this point, so it's enough to pay for the majority of my training costs, my gear. So I really appreciate you guys following the page and giving me those weekly sponsorship monies.
Cool. Yeah, and I've had your Instagram kind of rolling on this video the whole time. Is there anywhere else that we can find you, or viewers can find you?
I do have a Facebook page. I don't work on it as much as my Instagram. The Instagram's been my focus. I'm working on getting on the other social medias, but Instagram's really the main one right now.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Meaghan. I wish you the best in the future with MMA and in your personal life. Congratulations again. I'll be watching your future fights for sure. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you,
Thanks. I
Kat.
know.
Same to you. Let me know when I'll be following you. So whenever
Okay,
you
cool.
next, I'm excited to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.